Good evening, everyone. The topic today is the autism spectrum in children. We're going to have a discussion on the awareness of autism spectrum and how it is perceived and managed in Malaysia. Today I have two lovely women with me. I have Mrs. Anandini, who's a doctor and has a son who has autism. And I've got Miss Vanisri, who started Global Links that works with autism children. I'll start the session now, and I hope you're both happy to be here to talk about autism, the spectrum, and about your son. And maybe before we go into the full discussion, Ms. Vanisri, would you like to tell us what you mean by autism? What is meant by autism?
Okay, I think before that, maybe I need to introduce myself first.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to, okay, my name is Vanisri, and I'm actually the founder for Global Link groups. And okay, my educational background, okay, I was studying in Sekolah Menengah, Sekolah Rendah and Sekolah Menengah Methodist, and then I further up to Clifford for my STPM, and then I did my master's and a degree in University of Malaya. Okay, for my job experience. So I was actually a lecturer by professions. Okay, I was lecturing in international universities such as Monash Universities, Lathrop University, Taylor's University, and Asia Universities. So I was also a subject matter expert for them. Okay, and obviously my background, educational background, was not in nothing related to education or autistic things. Okay, but it was in a computer science. But I always stay ahead in my things. Okay, where while I was lecturing, I was a subject matter expert for knowledge management. Okay, so I was one of the early pioneer in Malaysia. So I started the research and everything. So while I was doing that, okay, I started early childhood research in 2003, before my daughter was born. Okay, and in 2008 we started preschool, and after that I started to receive kids with having learning disabilities. So that was my starting point to be involved with these kids. Okay, and after that, then I had my certified autism specialist from IBCCS US. Okay, and then I'm also an international journal reviewer for international journals, and I'm also international PhD doctorate reviewer, so subject matter expert for the doctorate students who's doing learning disabilities. Okay, so this is my experience in this line. Okay, and now I would like to talk about the autism spectrums. So autism spectrum is actually development disorders. Okay, and the main things that comes, the difficulty that the students, kids are having in it is actually socializing. Okay, and cognitive sides, okay, thinking skills, okay, and also following instructions and all that. Okay, so that's basically on the autism side.
All right. But what about the whole spectrum? Is there a different spectrum within the autism spectrum? Because we
there's actually autism is a spectrum because every case is different. Okay, every kids, the disabilities comes under different categories, and they are, I would say, each and every case is different. Okay. So some may have communication difficulties. Okay, some may have instruction following these difficulties. Okay, and this is the some of the things that I could say. Okay, and they may have some repetition behavior. Okay, repetitive behaviors. Okay, where or sometimes they isolate themselves. They don't want to mix around with other kids and everything.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is part of the spectrum. So parents, when they know that there's a spectrum, these are the things that they can identify, because the next step I was going to ask is, what are the steps in identifying kids with autism?
Okay, if you ask me, the first step is obviously it comes from the parents as well. Okay, so the parents need to get some awareness on development milestones. Okay, what a kid need to be done in what age, certain age, okay, certain months, okay, some things like they are turning over, okay, crawlings, okay, walkings and all this. So when a parent realizes there is some delays in that, okay, then there might be some things that we need to give some attentions, especially like on in a speech wise. Okay, maybe a kid doesn't speak by the age of 3 years. Okay, then an attention need to be given over there. So that is why we always say that as a parent, before you be a parent, you need to get to have some knowledge on the development milestone itself. Okay, what a child need to do at what phase, okay, or ages.
Okay, do you think it's sort of accepted by people that a child has to do it by this stage or that stage? Some children are slower, so it couldn't be due to autism. What do you think? There are slow developers too.
Yeah, what we are saying is, okay, it's not about autism alone. Okay, any disabilities that comes under the psychological disabilities, you must have some delay. So when there is a delay, we need to give some attention to it.
Okay, because I would like to tell you, put a proposition to you, because Einstein didn't speak to the age of 4 or 5, and look what he did. You know, so we can't say he's autistic, but how do we actually, what are the real steps? Do you think, okay, when you identify, these are parents identifying, would you take them to a medical doctor as well?
Okay, in current setups, okay, in Malaysia, okay, of course, they are bringing it to the medical doctors to do the
diagnosing and screening.
Diagnosis and screening. But again, if you ask us, okay, from the educators' perspective, because educators are the one who's dealing directly with the kids. Okay, especially when they're sending us to early childhood centers, or something like kindergartens or nurseries and everything. So we are dealing directly and seeing the kids directly, and of course we are analyzing each and every stages of the kids' development, why this kid is not doing this and why, you know, that kind of thing. So in this case, what we believe is, if there's a coordination between the medical line and the educator's side, that will be good.
Good. What if there was diagnosis in the wrong way? Just say in the medical side or on your side. How are there benchmarks or are there specifics that you'll put in so that a child is not actually labeled autistic? What do you do? Because on your diagnosing and screening,
in our center, what normally we do is every case that comes in, okay, we will do a screening. Any kids, okay, because let me tell you, Globally is actually an inclusion school where we have a normal kid, typical kids, and also kids with learning disabilities. Okay, so any kids comes in, okay, we will do a screening to see their needs, okay, individual needs. Okay, is the kids development on language is good? Okay, socializing is good. Can they follow instructions? Okay, in these are the things that mainly that we will be looking at, and also some gross motors and fine motors. Okay. So from there, then we will do the leveling. Okay, whether they're having problems or they don't have problems. Okay, if they have problems, then we will do second steps of screenings, assessments. Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the modeling that you said, because it's very interesting to me.
Which
you just said, you know, the modeling, or the way, when you talk about modeling, you mean just kids the way they play? Or is there a specific framework or something to do?
Basically, we have lots of different kinds of play activities, different kind of educational activities and all that. So my educators, I need to address here also, my educators comes from the line of a medical background, which is occupational therapies, physiotherapies, speech pathologies and all that. Okay, and also from educators, education line itself. Okay, so all of them are trained to identify any delays. Okay, so they have activities to do. Okay, a therapy and everything.
Activities. So, so from there you actually understand
the kids. Okay, what is their problem, and from there only then we will advise the parents. Okay. Of course, just now you was asking is will there be any different idea between the medical side
Yes.
and our side. Of course, it happens. It happens because why that happens, maybe because of because we are seeing the kids directly. Okay, and we you know, my teachers experienced enough and professional enough to see that what is the delays, and we know, okay, how to tackle and know how to address it. Okay, sometimes when it goes to the medical side, medical doctors, the contact time may not be enough for them
to assess the child,
yes,
his child.
Yes, okay. So it takes you know, a longer period.
Okay.
Maybe 2 years or 3 years, or maybe they have like every 6 months or 4 months. Okay. So during that time, what happens is the kid may be the behavior of the kids may be different. They may not be showing the true color.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so that's why sometimes the difference on idea may happen. Maybe in the category differences. Okay, maybe ASD, slow learner, development delay. That kind of things may happen.
But would you then say that doctors may not be able to diagnose autism straight away then? That's what you're saying, because they don't have enough contact time, no interaction. But I've seen some doctors have specific tools in their clinics who specialize in autism, where they can actually
they have the questionnaires. Yes, they have the questionnaires.
Yes.
I agree, they have the questionnaires. But again, okay, questionnaires, okay, that they have is actually the questionnaire is answered by the parents. Okay. So parents sometimes may not be able to understand what is the need of the question. Okay. So most of the time, sometimes it happens that maybe my child has this, maybe. So when you have a lot of maybe, how are we going to have the right proper diagnosis?
Okay, that's very good. That's one way of looking at it. But if you can't get the child, I mean, I know the child comes to you all, and you said you have able-bodied and you have autism spectrum children as well. You put them together. What if the autistic child withdraws more into himself and you don't get to observe the real environment as well? Maybe the parents have better time with the kid to understand the kid. I'm just asking you this question so that how do you, because I love what you say about diagnosing and screening, but I want to know what competencies you use for diagnosing and screening, because
of course we have the questionnaires as what the tools, because I'm also with the American Psychological Association. Okay, so there's some tools, ASQ tools and everything that we do use. Okay, so the setup that we have in the school is, our number of students is smaller. Okay, so it's only about max about 10 students in a group. And it depends on the level of the students. Some levels we may have 5 students in a group. So the teacher's attention is direct to the student. So there's no way the student's behavior won't be noticed. Which goes unnoticeable. So there is always, interactions between the teachers and also the therapists, and also if they don't find something different, they'll always come back. To find why these things happening in that way.
For the child
because
in that way.
Even we are already helping the kids also. Every time there's always a different problem comes in, and then different solutions, and each and every kid is different.
That's very interesting, because you say every child is different because development needs and the way they develop. But what if the child really has a medical problem that hasn't been assessed? Because I know of kids who have tumors, etc. Do you all have that sort of
physical needs? We are not doing. Of course, that one has to go back to the medical doctors. So ours is more on learning disabilities.
Thank you. So I've heard a little bit of all what you've said, how you identify kids with autism, diagnosing, screening, and very informative about how you screen. Your screening, is it on competencies? Because I heard you say the way they're verbal, the way they communicate.
There's some charts that will be based at.
And what kind of competencies are on your chart, apart from verbal or interactive?
There's 4 different things that we'll be looking at on language, socializing, fine motors, and gross motors. So from there we can identify what is their development age.
That's good. No, and
because physical age, okay, because most of these kids will have a different development age. Okay, physical age maybe they are 5 years, but when it comes to the development age, maybe they are 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So because in that chart we can identify that.
Okay, so you all have a framework then?
Yes,
on how
definitely.
to. Okay, good.
We are using American Psychological Association chart.
Okay, I'm with the British Psychological Society, but it's more for adult screening, and they do autism. We get lots of subjects on autism, but then you cannot use psychometric tools on a kid. You see, you have to use in the form of games, etc. So for me, it's very interesting. That's what I was trying to find out.
What kind that we do. Of course, we don't ask the kids to answer the questions and everything. We will be doing through the games.
The different tools.
Yes,
so there
different
are
tools
games.
and everything. So from there, then we identify what is their development age. From there, then only we starts out. Okay, what is the need for the kids? Okay, in which level they should go to, and from there then we will work out therapy sessions, because we also have ours is a complete system where we have an educational plan plus with a multidisciplinary therapy. I would like to highlight here that in Malaysia we was one of the first school that started with a multidisciplinary therapy in 2010 itself. So we had occupational therapies, physiotherapies, and speech pathologists helping me up with these things, and from that's where we started the full research, testing. It goes to a testing and implementations. So currently we have a full working setups. Okay, so our testing period we took almost about 7 years. Okay, to come up with the right system, right education system. Because our education system also is a combination between a British curriculum, German curriculum, and also Japanese methods. So all these we took out, and then we blend it according to our Malaysian culture. So that's why it took about 7 years for us to come up with the right system for them. So, and we also in here we also teaching them the living skills. Cooking, gardening, everything is incorporated in the syllabus itself.
All the different competencies.
So, and because we want to make the learning to be fun.
Very interesting.
It's for the normal kids, because every kid wants to be enjoying the learning. You see, the learning process, because lots of people is thinking that education is just about academic alone. Where what we are looking at, education is more than that.
Of course, digging mud in the garden is much better than sitting behind the classroom desk, isn't it? So, well, that's very interesting. Anyway, tell me, now that you've given me a little rundown and a long, very good comprehensive information about how you have the modules running, etc. Who actually regulates you? Is it your foreign bodies? You said you talked about Japanese, you talked about German, and then your US, and then you moduled, UK.
Under the British curriculums.
Who regulates you, and then who helped you put together this framework for the Malaysian culture? Is it you and your
our team? Our whole team.
So you have the speech therapist and the
my speech therapist, and we create the modules, because this experience that I got from my previous subject matter expert, where I do a content for the university itself. So that's where that experience I brought into here, to redraw, restructure and everything. The whole structure is totally from Globaling itself. But of course, when it comes to the British curriculum, it comes from the Cambridge education. Cambridge
education.
Yes.
Do they have a specific one for autism? No,
they don't have
development, disabilities.
They don't have any specific frameworks. It's we are taking the international modules is because it's more flexible.
And more research done as well.
Yes, more flexible, and also because it doesn't base on the age of the kids. It's more on a level base. So the those kids who's can go what I can say is, those kids, let's say they are 5 years, but their development age might be 7 years, so they can just continue with it. So they can go for the next level.
So these are autistic children you're talking about, or normal children?
Normal kids, typical kids, and some autistic kids are doing very good, very well in their education.
Very good.
That's why it depends on their interest.
Okay.
Okay, because each and every kids, they have their own talents.
Okay.
Their own abilities.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay.
Tell me how Global Link works. You know, you started Global Link, and this is you call it a school? Do you have a name for your school?
Yes, Global Link.
So it's called just Global Link.
Global Link Internet.
Okay, Global Link
Global
School.
Link School.
So how does it actually work? I know you've given me a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
That's why I say, under Global Link, okay, we have two setups. One is the school, and also another one is the multidisciplinary therapy, which comes under the Golden Child. Okay. So for the Global Link, we have an inclusion setup. Okay, normal kids and special kids. Okay. For Golden Child, it's more for the special kids who undergoes the therapy. Therapy sessions. So in the therapy, we have about 9 different things that we included in. Okay. Occupational therapy, play therapy, sensory integrations, fine motor, gross motor, brain gym, speech, music movements.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
So all this integrated there.
Okay. So then the children, whichever suits them, let them pick on it and develop.
No, everybody will go through everything.
Every one of the 9 Golden Child.
Those
modules.
Who is having learning disabilities, they will go through these programs.
Okay. Is it all?
So it's being monitored.
Okay.
The kids will be monitored fully for the educational and also for the therapy.
So is that all at the same time or at different time, but it's integrated?
Different timings.
Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you very much, Ms. Vanisri. I'm going to go over to Dr. Anandini, who's been sitting very quietly and very patiently listening. And I think you've got a lot to tell me and, to discuss. I know you have a son who is autistic.
Yes.
How did you identify that there was something wrong or different with him?
Well, for starters, there was nothing wrong with him.
Okay, that's good.
Perfect little bubbly little kid.
Yes.
But what challenges we faced was he wasn't speaking when he was supposed to. By 2, we got worried, and as a medical doctor, we sort of knew something was wrong. But as a first-time mom, I was a little bit in denial. So a very good friend suggested that we start looking into this, and that's when we decided to do something about it. So we enrolled him into a regular preschool, a very famous franchise. But they couldn't include him in the activities, in their learning system, and most of the time he was left behind. And so that's when, although we sort of knew something was, not just there, we decided to seek a proper expert opinion. We consulted a developmental pediatrician. And that's when we sort of got him diagnosed. Although personally, I wouldn't like to label anything on this kind of kids because, as I mentioned, it's a very wide spectrum. Every kid is different in their very own ways. So, yeah, other than that, there was really nothing different. He was cheerful, he was playing, but here and there, we just noticed a little bit.
I know what you say about labeling, but then sometimes we need labels so that the right solutions could be found.
Yeah, in a way, that's what I need these labels, like for Christian, my son, I needed to place what's going on so that we could start early intervention, we could start helping him differently because he was not learning in a conventional method. And we needed something different that we could, help him out with.
Oh, that's very interesting. But how would you think whether you went through a proper screening from a child development doctor? You said your pediatrician you went to.
Yeah.
Did you think you got the right diagnosis or treatment?
That's a very tricky question, because I fall in a very gray area being a mother and a medical doctor. And I'm not really for diagnosing ASD in a medical setting. I mean, as a medical doctor, we have the tools, we have the knowledge, we can sort of pick up if something is off, but I'm all for over a period of months for us to really identify, where the child sits, how are we going to help the child. So it's very hard to go through a 45-minute session in a medical setting to identify. We can suggest, look, there's something not right, so why don't you, get extra help and see what's going on.
Because you're a doctor yourself.
Yeah,
And if you had a
yeah.
patient, something, you didn't diagnose correctly, or you thought you did, but it didn't work with medication, you would try something else.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more on that, because you're a doctor. Did you specialize in something, or?
No, I'm a medical doctor. I have a very humble practice of my own in Klang.
Okay.
Generally see a little niche of regular patients and all. Mostly adults, no kids though.
Ah, okay, that's very good, thank you. But how did you find the comparison between what Global Link's assessment reports and reports from the doctor was? Did you think they were very vast?
It's very hard to answer that, because as a medical doctor, I knew something was wrong. And I was looking for someone or some place where they could further assess and offer him a proper way of learning rather than a conventional learning. So I did seek a doctor's advice when he was 2, and we did diagnose him as likely being in the autism spectrum. So that's when we decided to approach Global Link, and he went through assessment again. And like in Global Link, it's like an ongoing thing. It's like every now and then we will figure out his weak points and as well as his strong points. So we identify what he's good at, what needs more attention. So that should be the way. With ASD, it's not just 45 minutes therapy, 40 minutes speech therapy. They can't follow conventional learning. It's an ongoing thing.
Okay, no, I understand that, because they need a lot of attention too. Yep. So
in a different way, yeah.
Yeah. So when you went to this development pediatrician, did they actually suggest you go to any therapy centers?
Yeah, they did. In fact, many doctors do suggest that, but it's very hard. Sometimes the centers work, sometimes they don't. But as I said, it's not. These centers usually offer 40-45 minutes, an hour max. But it's just much more than that. If you were an educator and you're with a child from morning until throughout the day, and then you really look at a child not just when he's in class, but when he's playing, when he's eating, how does he go to the washroom? There's so many other factors to look at, not just to narrow it down to just speech and certain parts of therapy.
Therapy, very good, thank you. So why did you choose Global Links? Did you go to any other centers or make a comparison, or you just went to Global Links?
Well, as he wasn't speaking by the age of 2, I did enroll him in a preschool, as I mentioned earlier. But as I said, he couldn't really follow along the lessons and everything. And it's quite saddening to note that at the end of that particular year, I was called up by the principal and I was told that we need to exclude Christian from their annual concert because they just could not handle him. And we were very disheartened, and we insisted that we actually allow him to take part, and we did bring him along. But of course, at that time, we did not realize that his way of moving about and not staying still, it's not because he was naughty, but that's his way of calming himself down. But as an educator in a preschool, they could not see that, and that's what's happening here. So that's when I started to look at other schools. And Global Link came about mainly because of location-wise initially, but along the way, I'm glad I made the right choice, because 1 year in Global Link, and that particularly same year, he was given the opportunity to perform at his concert. He did a solo performance on his own, despite being assisted, but he was up there on stage on his own. So, that few months, we started off him there, we saw vast progress, and yeah.
Very good. So what was his solo performance on?
One Little Finger. Yeah, he did a song.
He did a song.
Yeah.
He finished the whole song.
Yes,
all by himself.
All by himself. He was crying. He was crying. He didn't want to get on stage.
Stage
of the
fright.
anxiety, separation, and everything. But eventually, he was up there and did it. I couldn't finish recording because I was buckets in tears.
Tears.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to cry. I will need tissues soon. See, I got tears in my eyes. The way you're telling me, I feel your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. I am going to cry. See? Huh? I feel goosebumps all over me at the moment.
I still watch that video and I still get all teary because...
See, I need a tissue, please. And tell me, where are you based? Because you talked about location.
Based as in?
Global Links?
Okay, actually, Global Link is in Kota Kemuning and Kemuning Avenue, Kota Kemuning. Okay, but now we have a few centers. Okay,
would you like one?
No,
would you like one? This is a very informal way of, come on, I'll send you one and one for you, Vanisri, and I'll have one, please. Thank you. I need it. Okay. So
we have Global Link, and our base is actually in Kota Kemuning. So now and then we expanded to Balakong. Okay,
right.
And new centers we are opening in Pandamaran.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to be a full setup.
Okay.
With a 4-story building on its own. So there we'll be having more facilities for them with a full therapy rooms and everything.
Okay.
And we are also expanding to Kota Kinabalu.
Oh, okay, very good.
So we are opening up soon there.
Ah, very interesting. Thank you for telling me that. And what kind of treatments are there for autism?
Okay, basically, as I mentioned just now, okay, we do early interventions for them.
Yes.
Then we do education plan and also for therapy. So, and also we do behavioral management.
Okay.
Okay, and that are basic things that we do. And sometimes we do advise on food intakes, to control their BMI. Okay, because that part, when we talk about BMI, okay, if their body mass is higher, then the therapy doesn't really works.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes we do
that.
It's a case-to-case basis. Okay. So on an individual needs.
What about, we find that autism and certain foods, they have some connection. Do you all also go into that? Is that by, giving the child food and seeing how the child reacts, which is one, or is it by doing a blood test? A certain blood test or DNA test also shows the foods that you can be allergic to.
That one we don't really do, because ours is more towards intervention plans. Okay, so when that kind of things, normally parents just go to the nutritionist. Okay, to get an idea on that. So, but some parents do, they exclude the gluten.
Yes.
So, gluten-free foods. Okay. It all again. That's why I say it's more depends on the kids again.
Each child,
each and every child. Because some kids, they are allergic to certain things. I do had experience. Okay, dealing with parents who is 100% gluten-free. Okay. So that kid tend to have more allergics. Okay, this is my personal experience. So the first things that I had with that kid is suddenly the kid was having rashes, and when we asked the parents, they say it's a papaya allergic.
Allergic to papaya
Yes,
fruit.
allergic to papaya. So he was eating basically every day. He eats only chicken, fried chicken. Okay, because the parents said he's totally gluten free, so they just fry for him chicken and give him. But after 2 months, then I heard he's chicken allergic.
Yes.
Okay, so so that's why most of my kids, some of my kids are not really following 100% gluten free. It depends. Again, that's why I say it depends on the parents. Okay, it depends on the parents. But so far, through my experience in dealing with this for 10 years, okay, if you're too particular about the food, also, it causes other problems. So
I'm not sure about that because I have food allergy over 100. It goes according to the range of red, yellow and green. And as a child, we had cows in the house. We used to drink milk. I used to cry. My brother was allergic to gluten-free. He used to break up in rashes. We never knew. We took him to a Penang German hospital. It's only when my sisters went to England to study and they found they had allergy, had a blood test done. The whole family, we now know we have an allergy. And actually, I had a very good allergy physician in London. I still go to see him. And it's actually because of the immune system. When your immune system is very, very sensitive, it's its way of keeping you away from food that is not good for you. So I find that. But I also find there's a link with food allergy and autism. I find a lot of
there is a lot of research telling that. Okay, but again,
but it's good that at least you're aware of all that is going on. Thank you for that. And Dr. Anandini, how do you think your son is progressing at Global Links? I know I cried a bucket. Don't make me cry again.
I most likely will, I think, because he has progressed a lot.
Okay.
He started to speak by the age of 3+.
Okay.
And now he's talking non-stop that I have to literally ask him to stop talking. I just found out last week that he could read on his own. Initially, I understand that at Global Link, they are reading Peter and Jane and their Paul and Mary's and everything. I thought when he loves books, he would spend hours in a bookstore rather than being in a toy store.
Okay.
So I thought he was memorizing the words page by page. But then we tested it out on a whiteboard and he literally just read everything on the board. And my dad and my mom, you know, the only grandkids, and they're testing him out every day.
Really?
Reading,
so he's now become their guinea pig?
Yes, pretty much.
He was initially without words.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what she said. He was not talking.
And the thing is, because that's where I said, okay, there will be some point there. There will be a changing point. So now he is getting
turned the corner, like the English say, turn the corner for the better. Good, thank
but
you.
But most importantly, I'm just glad that he can express himself, because it was very hard for us in the early years. We didn't know what he wanted. We didn't know why was he upset, or you know. But he was generally a very cheery child. But now he could really express himself and tell us what he wants or what he doesn't want, and that's
really good.
Yeah.
So it helps. So do you only have the one child?
For now, yes.
Yes. Oh no. I just wanted to know how you cope, because you say you have a practice and then you got a son.
I've got a very supportive family, my parents, and a very small little handful of good friends and family who help.
Actually, the grandparents are very supportive. Okay, that's one of the reasons, because this, when you ask me, okay, about the changes and everything, it always has to be between the school, student and the parents and the family. Actually, it's a family. The whole family have to be supportive in these things. It's not only the parents alone. So in their case, the grandparents are very supportive. So that's where we can make the differences.
Oh, that's very good. So they take a real active participation.
Because they're both educators themselves.
Oh, see,
my mom's in early childhood as well. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So that makes
and in fact, I believe when you came in, your mom was the one who said, you know, you have to go through the whole process, because our ours is long hours.
Okay.
It's because we need that long hours. Then only we can do the changes.
Condition.
So that is the condition. It's about 40 hours a week.
Oh, really?
Okay, 40 hours a week.
He comes back at 4:30, 2:30. So
it starts at 8 o'clock. Because the whole thing, because we want the kids to be with us so that we can see the whole process of the kids
from morning to afternoon
so
till they
we can
go back.
monitor their disciplines and everything.
And he's so happy to go to school. He doesn't throw a fuss. He's really happy. Yeah.
Oh, that's really
good. And he comes home happy as well.
Oh, that's very good. And he's off your hands while you go to work. Thank you. Now, what is your expectation as a mother for your child?
Wow, this is when you're really going to start to tear up.
Okay, I'll try to get another tissue.
Well, as a mother, it's very hard to answer, but I just want people to understand that ASD is not a disease. It's not wrong to be autistic. Some people just tell me, "Oh my, poor thing, you know, you got to buckle up." And I ask, what's wrong if he's autistic? We are giving him the best. We are just letting him take his pace and, you know, discover his own capabilities. There's nothing wrong being autistic. It's really fine. I'll just want many people to just accept him the way he is. He's not naughty, he's not stubborn, lazy, slow. No, he's just taking his time. I just hope he's able to do things on his own. My main fear is when we're not around and how's he going to be like, but, you know, so I hope he reaches a level where he'll be able to fend for himself. That's enough.
So that's
we're not pushing him academically, and you know, we're discovering a lot of new things every day about him. Amazing little things, and that's enough for now.
Oh, thank you. And what amazing little thing. I know he danced with one finger despite crying buckets.
I just realized he sings pop songs off the radio.
Really?
He has his own playlist on YouTube and he listens to it over and over again.
And so who do you think he's going to take after?
Who's
his favorite pop star?
Himself, I don't know.
No, but whose music does he listen most to?
Varies. He likes a lot of different.
More male, more female?
No, nothing in particular.
Actually, these kids, they have abilities. Okay, which typical kids doesn't have. And when we give them the right light, they'll become somebody.
Okay,
And that's one of the reasons why we are here.
Oh, good. No, that's very good. That's
Okay,
very.
and you know, that's where I spend my, you know, I left my academic, educational career, okay, with from academic line itself to this, because we need to do some things for these kids.
Kids, very good.
And there is lots of changes that we can do.
Yes, it's
because,
very commendable. No,
and
that's, yeah, of course, you're bringing change.
Yeah, we are, and in fact, when we started in 2010, okay, everybody was against, most of the parents was against inclusion.
Oh, okay. They wanted exclusion.
Exclusion. So today, most of the parents are very supportive.
Oh, that's very good.
Because they understand.
It's about
what's really
awareness
happening.
again, isn't
Yes.
it? And
I'll have to interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
Another thing I'm so happy that he goes to Global Link is I can see the passion in the teachers.
Okay.
When I drop him off, I usually linger around a little bit, and they greet him with so much of joy. He's so happy to see them. They hug each other and they tickle one another, and he's just happy to go to school.
Because there's a lot of love.
Yeah, so you really see the passion and how they are so patient with them, you know, and that's, to me, that's the most important. It doesn't matter if he can't read or write yet, you know, let him take his time, but as long as he's happy to be learning.
He's only 3.5.
No, he's 6 this year.
Oh, 6 this year. Oh, at 3.5 he started
to speak.
To speak and to read.
Yeah.
So now he must be doing really well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Now, do you think Global Link gave you the right guidance in helping your son? You said a lot of it already.
Of
Is there an
course.
extra bit that you want to say?
Yeah. Nothing much. I'm just glad he's found somewhere where he belongs, where he's happy, and judging from the progress he's made all this while, and the progress they've made with a lot of other children as well. So, you know, just step out of the conventional therapy sessions that a lot of parents are putting their kids through. Sometimes as a doctor, I see a lot of patients and they end up commuting from this center to the other center, and a whole lot of time and effort. So, you know, you just got to look out the box a little bit. It doesn't mean the higher end centers offer a better treatment. Sometimes, you know, you got to give a different approach a chance.
Thank you very much for that. It was very enlightening for me. I thought I would not enjoy it because I don't have kids, but I've enjoyed it because now my mind is working. You know what I mean? But so thank you for that. Is there anything else that you all want to bring up, Ms. Vanisri?
Okay. Early intervention is very important. Okay, if you want to bring changes for these kids, it's about early interventions and the right approach.
So it's very early.
Okay.
Okay, and how early would you say?
Actually, I do have kids with autism who came into us at the age of 2 years.
Oh, I'm so glad you said I have. I thought you had
No.
your own.
My
students. Okay,
my students.
all right. I was just going to ask
at
you
times,
that.
you know, I refer my students and my kids.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, I have my kids, who's three of them. Okay, the eldest is 15, 14, and 7 years.
Oh, so you have your own biological children. Okay,
Yes,
all right,
definitely.
very good.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, so an intervention. Everything is about interventions. Okay, because the later, okay, we are giving them the treatment, okay, or whatever it is, okay, it's a bit too late.
You mean when it's much later?
Yes.
So do you think it's? Do you think that
It has to be at least before 5 years. Something need to be done.
maybe the progress may not be as good as when you give them much earlier?
Yes, so the thing is because the brain develops the first 5 years.
Yes, okay.
90% of the brain develops the first 5 years, and after that it's only about 10% of the brain develops. Okay, changes. So when you do intervention in the early stage, okay, they can absorb things faster, and the changes becomes faster. Okay, if the kids comes after 7 years, you know, yes, we can still do, but the duration becomes longer
In assessing them and diagnosing them and giving them the
interventions. Okay, and seeing the result especially.
Okay, but can they be rehabilitated? I'm using that word, not that they need to be, but from the change
they can over time. So patient.
Yes, patience. Yes,
parents patient especially.
Okay.
Okay, it's not only teachers, because we already train our teachers to be patient to handle the kids.
Okay.
Okay, but this patient is from the parents to see the results.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So if kids comes in below 5 years, okay, like just now, Christian stage,
Yes.
okay, they see the results earlier,
Okay.
but much faster because they came before 5 years.
Okay, it was
Okay.
2 and
Those kids who comes after 7 years, their results might be they see after 2 years or 3 years.
Okay, but there is still
yeah,
progress.
there will be a progress.
Progress.
But the time durations.
I have one last question, because you said you're opening up more centers. Are there enough teachers who are trained in this
for
field?
for that, what we do is, of course, we have we recruit the teachers ourselves. Okay, this is what we have been doing since 2011 itself. Okay, even though we check teachers from the education background, we check teachers from occupational therapists or physiotherapists, still we have to do retrain them.
Okay.
To the because you have to give them the proper skills in handling these kids.
Okay.
Because most of them, if from the education background, okay, they don't have enough exposure to handle these special kids.
Yes.
Okay, same things with from the occupational therapists or physiotherapists. Not everyone has the skill in handling kids.
Okay.
Okay, so still we do the retrain. So that's why we have our own module to train the teachers as well.
Okay.
So any teachers who comes in, we have to do the training.
Training, of course, they
Yes.
should be trained.
So that's why here the skill training is much more important.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and they should have an affinity for kids because you talk about patience.
Yes.
You can have
They
the
have
training,
to have
but
passion,
patience,
okay, skill. Okay, then only comes the academic background. Of course, to enter in, they must have at least a diploma or degree. Okay, but
Some sort of
apart from the academic, what we look at is the attitude of the teacher,
Okay.
the skill,
So
okay, and the passion and the patience.
And again, the competencies. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Vanisri and Dr. Anandini. And I hope you enjoyed this session. I enjoyed it very much. And at least you know a little bit about how autism spectrum is perceived and managed in Malaysia. And there is a school called Global Links that may help you if you have an autistic child. And thank you and good night.
Good night.